Never flash your high beams, part of the classic urban legend series written by the Prowler. In my adult age, I've become cautious of the dangers that lurk in the night, and I can point to one particular event that caused this cautiousness. I've always been a fan of the horror genre since as long as I can remember, movies, books, and urban legends. As a child, I was always thinking about horror, and one story, a particular urban legend, stood out during the time of the incident in question. I believe I read it in one of the scary stories to tell in the dark books, which I read constantly during the time, so it was fresh in my memory. The urban legend I'm referring to is the high beam initiation. Now, if you're not familiar with that story, let me refresh your memory. A person or persons are driving in a car late at night and happen across an oncoming car in the opposite lane with their headlights turned off. So the occupants in the car decide to warn the oncoming car by flashing their headlights to let them know their lights are off. Most people would think that would be the proper, polite thing to do, to give a nice friendly warning, but in this instance, it seals the concerned driver's doom. You see, the car has its lights off for a reason, and those reasons differ, from it being a gang initiation ritual, or just a madman playing a game, looking for someone to kill. But the story usually ends with the concerned driver's demise. Out of all the urban legends I've read about, they say that this is the one that actually happened, and that's what stuck out in my child's mind at the time. Sure, there are others that could be true and could have happened, but this one definitely seemed plausible. I mean, there are gangs out there that have initiations, and there are crazy people out there on the streets, especially at night. So I took that knowledge with me. Even though I was a child in short pants, I possessed common sense and an understanding of surviving horror scenarios. Whenever I would be in the car late at night, usually with my mom, on our way back home from somewhere, we would see a car without its headlights turned on from time to time. But she would not flash her lights to warn them, for she knew the legend as well. Once the car would pass, we would always joke around, saying we dodged something bad, and go about our business. One particular night, however, the circumstances changed. We were out later than usual, on our way back home from a Christmas family get-together, I believe. And once again we came across a car with its lights turned off and dark tinted windows. The car looked ominous, but I didn't give it a second thought because I knew the rule. We don't warn people that their lights are off. But for whatever reason, be it her tiredness after a long day or her annoyance at the other car's stupidity, on that night, she did. She flashed her headlights as the darkened car passed us, turning them off almost immediately as she realized her mistake. I watched as she gripped the steering wheel, hoping, praying that the darkened car kept driving. All of a sudden, she screamed, "Shit!" as the car slammed on its brakes and made an angry U-turn. All of a sudden, the darkened car turned on its headlights and began flashing them rapidly as they sped towards us like an out-of-control freight train. My mom was panicked, but was doing her best to maintain her cool as she tried to stay ahead of the ominous car that chased us for whatever reason. Despite her best efforts, however, the car was getting closer. It even tapped our back bumper at one point, That was the time I was most frightened. The chase seemed to go on and on. I believe it was minutes, but it seemed like hours. Then, by some miracle, we gained some distance from them, around a corner, and lost them down the street it connected to of a darkened residential neighborhood. We then thankfully came across a police substation, and when pulled into the parking lot and got out of the car, there was no sign of the car, just a dark, empty street. We quickly went inside and told the police what happened, and they escorted us home. We never saw that car ever again, and of course never made that mistake again either. Now you know why I'm cautious, and if you should ever come across a car without its headlights on, one dark and eerie night, remember, don't flash your high beams. I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to the special friends of the channel for your overwhelming generosity. If you would like to support the channel, the link is below in the description. Also, please send me your stories and poems to duchessofdarkness27@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram at duchess.ofdarkness and Twitter at duchessofdarkn2. I want to thank all my listeners for your kindness, your encouragement, and your support. It means the world to me. Thank you for joining me. Until next time.